Okay, so this is the third installment of the taking a pair of cheap boots and crafting them into something better. As you can see, from the last video, the KG's boot guard has dried in the front and the back. There's a few little spots here and there where it dripped or messed up a little bit, but nonetheless, it's fine. I think the job is pretty good. They're more about function than they are about form anyway. In this video, we're going to talk about what we do after. Then this is more of a care and maintenance of said boots, as opposed to a modification. I'm going to show you some of the stuff that I use to clean them and to condition them so that they last 10 times longer. And I'm probably going to do this all off camera because it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm mostly just going to show you some of the products and some of the ways to do things. The first thing you do, these boots are have never been used, out at work or anything like that. So they basically just need to be conditioned. They don't necessarily need to be cleaned. But if they did need to be cleaned, the product that I have found that is the best thing for cleaning boots, and it's old school. It's your great grandfather's probably been using it. Maybe not this brand, but that's saddle soap. This is Kiwi saddle soap. Kiwi, the same people that make the shoe polishes and whatnot. They also make the saddle soap. Comes in a tin like this. I usually keep a couple of these on hand. That's how you open it, is you twist that little thing. And this one's getting kind of low, but it's basically just, if you feel it, it's kind of, it smells like soap. It's basically soap with some other stuff in it that's good for the leather. Now, if you have ever washed yourself with soap, which I hope you have, you know that soap can pull some of the natural oils and stuff out of your skin, and that's no different with saddle soap on leather. While saddle soap is great for cleaning, and it's probably the best thing to get dirt, grime, oils, grease, stuff like that off, the bad kinds. We're going to show you some of the good oils and greases that you do want to put on. But this is the best thing for it. The other thing that I use is, what I'll usually do is just take the either the shower nozzle sprayer thing, the detachable hose attachment thing for the shower, works great, or the little sprayer thing that's at the sink, and you just hose the boots down real good. Try not to get anything inside the boots. You don't want anything getting inside. You want to try to keep the insides dry. But get the outside, get it wet, get it good and clean, and then get yourself a stiff bristled nylon brush. Don't use steel. Don't use a wire brush, because that'll tear up the leather. But a stiff bristled brush. And what I do is I get this good and wet, and then just kind of dip it and get a little bit of saddle soap on there, and then scrub it onto the boots really good till it works up a nice lather, and then just do that all over the entire boot, in the creases, especially right here. Let me get them in focus. In the creases right here, under where the tongue was, and then especially like right here and right here, these places right here, because that's where your most wear and tear is going to be, is in this little spot right in here. So you want to clean real good in these creases, and you want to clean real good right in here. And then of course on the sides right here is where most mud is going to get caked on and stuff like that, so you want to clean that really good. Same thing over here. The cool thing about the KG's boot guard is it cleans up really well, so you don't have to worry about getting this stuff on, this saddle soap on there. Actually, any of the products I'm going to show you, you could basically it can get on the KG's boot guard and it won't hurt it one bit. The other products that I use, once I've done that, once you've washed the whole outside of the boot with the saddle soap, I usually let it dry completely. Oops, sorry, bumped the camera. Let it dry completely, and once it's dry, then you can move on to this next step. If you try to move on to this next step before it's dry, you're pretty much just gonna, the stuff that you are putting on there is not going to soak in the way that you want it to, because it's already saturated with water. But there's two products that I will put on boots to basically condition them. The first is either one of these are pretty much exactly the same, is Mink oil. This is Mermac Mink oil. The only place I've ever found this brand of Mink oil is at the one of the local Western clothing stores. Here it's called Boot Barn. It used to be called Baskins. There's another one called Cavender's. They sell things. But Kiwi, the same brand that does the saddle soap, they also make a Mink oil. Another one that you get on Amazon that's kind of a more boutique one is this Freebings, Frybings, I don't know how you say that, but it's a Mink oil. The differences between these two is this one I think has it seems to me like it has less beeswax in it. This one does have beeswax. Everything that we have, that's the most important thing for boots, is beeswax, I think. But I want to say that this one has more beeswax in it, just because it's this this kind of golden color, whereas this one is sort of just a white. But I could be wrong on that. These both work really well. These both are great. But Mink oil for sure is one of the products I'll use, and I usually alternate between Mink oil, and everybody knows this one. Everybody who has who knows how to take care of leather knows this one, and that is Odenauf's Heavy Duty LP. This is another beeswax based formula. It's got beeswax and some other stuff in it, but it's really good. This really makes the leather soft. It really makes it supple. But for some reason it also makes it tough. These two things together, they seem to work great. But those are the two products I'll put on there. I will generally wash it with some kind of saddle soap. I like the Kiwi stuff just because I can get it locally at at any drugstore or anything like that. They usually sell this wherever they sell the shoe shine stuff. Like I said, this one I get at a Western clothing store. This one I just ordered off Amazon. You can find this a lot of places. It's very popular. And then these cans of Odenauf's, I order those from Amazon as well. And this is the big can. It comes in a little bit smaller can. Also comes in a liquid form, like an oil. This is more of like a paste. Now when you smear this stuff on, it does melt. It basically starts out as kind of a smushy stuff, but when you put it on there and you rub it with your finger, just the heat from your body turns it into into a liquid, and it soaks in. But what I do is I usually will just alternate between the two. I'll do Mink oil one time, and then I will do the Odenauf's the next time, and I just go back and forth. I don't clean the shoes with saddle soap every single time. I only clean them when they'll start to develop like a gray kind of matte color right there, and that's just from the mud getting on there and drying and falling off. Nothing dries out boots more than leaving mud on there and letting it dry. So always try to keep your boots, when you come home, clean them. And that will make them last. Even a cheap pair of boots like this, an $89 pair of boots, they'll last 10 times longer if you just clean the mud off of them and get them clean. And then they'll last way longer if you treat them right. So saddle soap, mink oil, and Odenauf's heavy duty LP. Those are the products I recommend. I'm going to do these two right here up with some mink oil for this time, and I'll show you what that looks like when you're done. The other thing you don't want to forget, you know, we went to all the trouble of making these false tongues in the first. Bump the camera again. That's how a professional does it. But we went to the trouble of making these, so we need to go to the trouble of treating them right. So we're gonna the same thing. You clean, you know, scrub them down real good with the saddle soap and just apply mink oil and Odenaufs to them. And I mean, I put it on both sides. I put it on the soft side and the inside. This would be the outside of the cow. This would be the inside of the cow. But you know, I slop it on there. The only place I don't put mink oil is on the inside of the boot. I don't put anything on here. I do put it on the suede part right here. I work it real good into the creases. We'll put it all the way up, and then all the way around the boot. I also try to make sure I get it worked in real good into these seams. You really want to make sure you get that stuff, because this is kind of sort of your waterproofer. This is what, you know, helps keep the boot from, I mean, nothing is waterproof. Even those Gore-Tex line boots will still get water in them. But it definitely does help. It won't, you can step into a puddle and step out quickly, and usually it will keep your feet dry. So I'm gonna pause this and smear some mink oil on these boots and show you what they look like after they're done. They are gonna get quite a bit darker, so but we'll look at that when we're done. Right here you can see the difference in color. Hopefully, you can see that remember I said that these marks would go away. Well, they do. But if you look, the colors of the boots are pretty different. It does darken it up quite a bit when you put the mink oil on there, but that kind of fades over time, and they will stay a little bit darker when you keep constantly putting stuff on there. But as you work it in and after you build it up over time, you know, gradually this stuff kind of piles on and it builds up over time, and it really saturates the leather and makes it just a lot better, tougher, and more supple and everything. But you can see you can see kind of the greasy sheen on there, on this little piece of false tongue. You see the little greasy, you can see the greasy sheen and stuff on this one. And but yeah, you put that stuff on there, and it after, you know, several coats or whatever, you know, after wearing it for a while, you'll need to put a little more on, and it'll build up, and just over time they'll kind of get like the other ones, where they're just real supple but at the same time really tough. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the other one and show you them both when they're done. So that's it. That's a couple greasy boots. You put the mink oil in there, you rub it in, and I like to let it sit for about 24 hours if I can. You know, if you're down to one pair of boots, you know, and you need those boots the next day, it wouldn't really hurt them. It's just that it seems that if you don't let it sit for 24 hours, the dust has a tendency to stick to the shoes when they're still a little bit greasy. It seems like when you let them sit for 24 hours, that stuff soaks in enough to where it doesn't really stuff doesn't stick to it like that. But yeah, that's the first coat, and I'll wear these for a while, and then when they start to dry out a little bit, then it'll be time for some Odenauf's heavy duty LP. We did mink oil this time, and next time we'll do the Odenauf's. Some people just do Odenauf's. I had a crew leader back in the day that he swore by mink oil, and that's what got me started on the mink oil, and it always seemed to work really good. You probably don't need to use both of these. I do, just because I enjoy the process of the maintenance and stuff like that, and it seems to be that with these two products together in the boot, it really makes the leather last longer. I used to go through about one pair of boots you know, a year, especially when I bought the cheap ones like this. I'm sure if I bought better quality boots that wouldn't be the case, but I mean, I'll get my other boots. I'll get one of my other boots, and you can see we'll set these over here, let them dry for a while. But these boots, you know, I've had these for probably, I don't know, 2 years, something like that. It's the exact same pair as the ones we were just working on, except these are steel toe, the other ones are not. But you know, you can see the leather still, it's still flexible and supple, and it's not you know, it's not cracking or dried out or anything like that. It's in really, see, these are in need of some saddle soap, that when it gets that kind of grayish stuff on there. These will need to be cleaned before I oil them up. But yeah, this is an old pair, or this is an old one, and this is a newer one. And these will eventually look like these, just as ratty. But though these look ratty, they're still in really good shape. The only thing these need now are maybe a you know, a new sole. And now that these are getting up and running, I can send these off and get them resoled. And then once that's done, these will be back to tip-top shape, and can start the process of wearing these soles down. And then when these are worn down, get a new set of soles on those. So the next video in this series, we're going to be talking about laces. I've already got a pair of laces. It's just this same brand, but we'll talk about those. They're a different color, but we'll talk about those when in the next video. So if you've got a pair of boots that you think could do with a little TLC, just slap some mink oil and some Odenaufs on them, and get them rubbed down real good with some of that good shoe grease, and it'll put years of life back into them. So thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. More on this pair of boots to come, and then maybe we'll start talking about some other stuff. So thanks for watching.